Hi, Chuck here again, and today I wanted to show some mods that I've done for my Taranis X7 or QX7, and basically I've made a battery pack for this to replace the AA batteries that you normally would use. So I'm sure plenty of you have this radio and think it's terrific, but one of the drawbacks of it is that it doesn't have a battery pack. Doesn't come with a rechargeable battery pack. It doesn't have a port to recharge it with. And one of the solutions that you can do is to create a battery pack for it using the 18650, what they call them, lithium ion batteries. And so let me just quickly show you the back of this transmitter and what you have to do to prepare it. So one of the things you have to do is remove the existing tray for the batteries. And the way you'll do that is very carefully, when you have the batteries out, just go ahead and use a pair of pliers and grip one of the edges that are exposed and just kind of work it up until you can get the battery tray removed, but be careful because there's a wire behind it. So you want to just peel it back and look inside for the wire. And while you're being very careful, you want to just go ahead and wedge that out by using a screwdriver or something to kind of just very gently pry the socket out. Now, this socket is basically a 2S battery lead, and that's what we'll be using to reconnect our new battery pack. So the supplies you're going to need is you're going to need a 2S lead. You'll need either a 18650 battery holder or a 3D printed part for this, and I'll put the link for the 3D printed part into the description. You can get this on Thingiverse, a very nice part. And to make things easy to use your balance charger to connect the discharge leads on your battery charger, I use a JST connector for that, and you can use any kind of connector you feel like using for that. And finally, you'll need a jumper wire. Oh, I forgot to show you the batteries. All right, so we have our 18650 batteries here. So I have the 4.2 volts, 6,000 milliamps, and they work great. So let me get started and start wiring this thing up. I think what I'll do is, instead of using the battery holder, I'm just going to go ahead and use the 3D printed part that I got off of Thingiverse, and this will fit into the slot here nicely. And the designer did some nice things. The designer actually put these little bolt-in, retainers that you can put a bolt through to the other side and bolt it down. But I found that the batteries do fit pretty tightly in the 3D printed part, and I've just not used the holders or the retainers because I need to go get the right hardware, and I didn't want to do that. So alternatively, you could use the battery holder in this as well. So it does fit, and you should be able to close this up with it in place. So let's get started, and I'll start doing some soldering. So here's my horrible drawing of the circuit and the wiring, and forgive me for all the squiggly lines, but the reason I drew it this way is because I wanted to show the orientation of the of the balance lead. And on the balance lead, as you're looking at the exposed metal parts, if I had turned it the other way around, it may not be as clear, but if you're looking at it from the perspective of the metal parts being exposed, this end is positive and the opposite end is the negative, and the middle, I'm not sure what you call it, but this is what splits the two batteries. So let me just lay out the parts and explain what's going on here. So I have these 18650 batteries, and they're 4.2 volts. You can get lower voltages, but I figured that the 4.2 volt ones would be the most compatible with my balance charger. So the button on the end is the positive. So here's the first battery, and the second battery, the flat part, is a negative. And so the way we'll be installing these is we'll have them opposite facing. And what I have shown here on the bottom is we have a jumper wire that will connect the two positive and negative terminals. This third wire that you see here is the middle wire of the balance lead, and I have a yellow wire here, and this yellow wire will just solder onto one of these. It doesn't matter which side as long as it's all connected. So we have our jumper and this middle wire from the balance lead. On the opposite end, what we'll do is we'll take the positive lead and we'll solder it to the button side, and we'll take the negative lead and solder it to the flat side of the cell. And to complete the wiring, we'll take our JST power lead and we will just solder those onto the ends of the battery as well. So we'll go the negative to negative and positive to positive. So it's fairly simple. My drawing makes it look more complicated, but as I said, I just wanted to illustrate that the JST lead, when you look at it from the exposed metal portions, this side is positive and this is negative. So let's go ahead and start soldering. My soldering iron is getting hot right now, and let's just do it. All right, so the first thing we'll do is we'll just tin up the ends of the battery. And I have a very hot soldering iron here, and you want to move very quickly to not overheat the battery. So first thing I'm going to do is I'll tin the tip of the iron, and I'll go ahead and just lay down some solder to the end of the battery. Same for the other end. There we go. So I'll want to jumper these two ends together. So I'm just going to use just a little short section of wire, and I'll go ahead and solder. I'll just solder one end to the positive terminal. Oops. Want to make sure I get a good solder connection here. All right. So I'm not the best soldering expert in the world, but I get the job done. So that's one end. And so on this end, we'll want to connect that to jumper, and also we'll want to use our JST middle wire to connect to. So we'll connect 2 wires to this end, referring back to our diagram. So we'll be doing this end right here, and connecting the yellow wire down here as well. So let me get that set up. The spacing that I'm going to use is going to be dependent on my 3D printed part here. So I'll get that part pressed in. So all I need to do is go to there. My wire cutters. Go ahead and score the insulating material on the wire, pull that off, and go ahead and tin that. Okay. As well as the middle wire. Yeah, so the plastic's going to melt back a bit, but that's all right. Go ahead and actually let's do it the other way. I'm left-handed, so let me orient the batteries to make it easier for me. There we go. That's that wire. And I'll go ahead and add the middle wire of the balance lead. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay. So that is one end of the job. Not sure. So let me go ahead and wrap these. I'll just hold these in temporarily like that. And so now I'll go ahead and tin the other ends of the batteries. So the red wire is positive, it'll go to the positive terminal. And so I'm thinking about that long. I'll go ahead and cut that there. And I will match up the negative. Go ahead and strip away the insulating material here. Sorry, you can't see that, but I'll go ahead and do that. Oh, I made a mistake. I cut too deeply, but I think I have a little bit of excess wire, so that's fine. Let's do that. So now that I have those, let me go ahead and tin. I've been using this copper solder tip cleaner. Not exactly 100% sold on it yet, but I have this thing here and I try to clean off my tip. It does an okay job. It's more convenient than a sponge, but it's not great. Okay, so we have the two ends tinned, and trying to figure out the best way to stand these up. So we'll go like that. And go ahead and solder the positive and negative wires to the terminals. And now we'll finish off by, oh, I hadn't tinned the tips of my JST lead yet, so let me go ahead and do that. And there. I got somebody at the door. Let me go check. Maybe it's the UPS man. Ah, yes, the UPS man came and delivered my LaForge Diversity receivers. I'm excited. I got my new Fat Shark goggles, and I'll have those up and running soon. I'll show some tips on that. Okay, so now I have the JST leads soldered. I can go ahead and connect those up to the battery pack. This will now become a battery pack as soon as I get this on. Let's see. Let's do it like that. All right. And I know I'm a horrible soldering person. I can't solder to save my life, but oh well, it works. So here we go. We'll go ahead and put on the positive lead. That's good. And now the negative. Oops, I lost a wire there, so okay. Shows you I don't know what I'm doing, but get a little bit more solder on my soldering iron here. Try not to choke from the fumes. Just do a real quick touch here. Okay, so that is going to do it for the soldering job, and let's go ahead and check voltages. If I can find my multimeter. Oh, there it is. Okay. We're on DC voltage now, and let me go ahead and check the total voltage of the pack. And we have 5.8 volts. That is good. If I check the balance plug, let's go ahead and check the middle wire. Let's go ahead and check the middle wire first. I have 3.5 volts there. I'll go ahead and check. And 3.6 there. So my battery's a little bit unbalanced, but I verified that I have each cell measurable between the poles, and the total voltage, if I check both sides, is, oops. Oh, come on. 5.7 volts. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied that my battery pack is soldered properly, even though I did a horrible soldering job, and I'm sure I'll hear from somebody about how bad my soldering job is, but you know, I apologize. I am very impatient and just trying to do the best I can. All right, so that's together, and we'll go ahead and insert these into the tray. You know, I'll go ahead and tape these up and maybe hot glue so that nothing gets pulled off. But essentially, that is the battery pack. And let me go ahead and show the Taranis. So on the Taranis, what you'll want to do is go ahead and feed your balance lead in, and it'll be turned over this way. The positive is on the inside, negative is on the outside, and let's see, it's a bit tricky here. Go ahead and insert. So I'll just put it part of the way. I'm going to take it out and recharge the battery, and go ahead and drop in my new battery pack. I'll hide this lead here. And if I can find my cover, where is the cover? Oh no. Oh, there it is. Take my cover. I have something sticking up. There we go. So get the cover back on. Go ahead and power this baby up. Let's see. Oh no, no power. Let's double check. That's in.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Ah, success. All right,
Driver
so
warning. Switch warning.
okay.
Engine off.
Okay, so there we go. 7.4 volts on the whole pack, and I'll give it a recharge on my balance charger, and things should be great. So that's how you create a battery pack for your Taranis QX-7. And let's see. I'll just show one thing. And that is, you can do the exact same thing using one of these battery holders here. So all you would really need to do, see, so the polarity is a little bit different here. So I have my positive here and the negative down there, so I would just turn it like this to match up this right here. But you would go ahead and, so since these are already jumpered, you don't need a jumper wire. So what you would need to do is just take your balance lead. See, I have another one here. I'm sorry, you take your balance lead and you would just run the middle wire to here, to the end there, and the rest of it should be the same. Right here, you would just go ahead and solder your JST connector on here, and your balance lead. You would take the outer wires. Now I've swapped these around, so this doesn't match. So I've swapped these wires around just so I can have the red wire be positive. So you know what you want to do is clean this up a little bit by very carefully pressing one of these contacts, pulling this wire out, and swapping these around. There we go, swap those around. And then I would go ahead and just attach the positive and negative wires to this end here. Yeah, so we would just go ahead and solder those onto there, and we would have a battery pack using just your standard 18650 battery holder, and it should be great. So if you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like this video, all the good stuff. I'm trying to build this channel. And thanks, and have a great day.